Hello and welcome. Can everyone hear us? Ed, you good to go?
I'm good to go.
Well, we're so excited to join everyone virtually for the McAfee Community Awards.
Yay! Thanks, Katie. It's great for everyone to be here and to be here with everybody. These are interesting times that we're in right now. I still have pandemic hair, but I shaved today, which in this era is a big commitment. I think we can all agree. Don't ask if I put long pants on, and I won't ask if our audience did either. But it's kind of the sign of the times right now. Things are a little bit different. Katie, I know that you've been out lit dropping, and I've been working the phones, but the campaign looks a little different, but we're still engaging with people and we're still reminding people about the importance of this election. And, more so than just the election is the activism that kind of runs through this party, and that our democracy doesn't begin or end with elections, but that it continues into the legislative session and into our everyday activism. And that's what's so great about these awards, is this event in particular recognizes the strength of our activism all year round, whether it's an even numbered year or an odd numbered year. One of the things that I wanted to talk about also is another nice thing about this event is it showcases the diversity of our community, and not just in terms of our people, but also in terms of the walks of life and where we are on the economic spectrum and where our interests are in terms of the things we believe in. And those things that we believe in bring us together, whether it's defending democracy every day, which has been a full-time job for the past 4 years, whether it's protecting our environment or standing up for labor unions or voting rights or abortion rights or teachers or so many other things that we fight for every day. That is a big part of who we are, and we're going to have a lot of that on display today. One of the things I really love about this moment we're in, and I know that 2020 is a hard year, but this is a great time to be a Democrat in Texas. And we haven't had a chance to say that too often over the years, but I really believe that right now in this moment, as hard as everything else is, it is a great time to be a Democrat. And I believe in a blue Texas. And I believe in a blue Texas because I believe in the strength of our community. I believe in you, all of you who are watching, in what makes this event what it is, what makes our community what it is, therefore what makes our state as strong as it can be. And we're going to do big things in Texas this year, and it starts with all of you. Okay, so before I wrap up here, I've talked about the spirit of activism. I've talked about the importance of our democracy this year. I've talked about my pandemic hair, yours too. But what I really want to talk about is the spirit of everybody that's here and how much it means to all of us. And all of that's going to be on display today. I hope that you find that this is energizing and that it gets you really amped up, even more so, if that's even possible, for the work ahead of us and for the election ahead of us. And then with that, I'm going to hand it back to Katie to talk about a little bit about our program today.
Thank you, Ed, and thank you so much for your service as Vice Chair. You're indispensable, and we are so lucky to have your service. First of all, welcome and thank you to all of our amazing honorees. I think everyone can agree that 2020 is not the year we thought it would be, but in an opportunity to look at the bright side, we are going to be celebrating some amazing folks, organizations, and individuals who are working to make the world a bit of a better place. And we're also going to be celebrating the lives of those dedicated to the Democratic cause. We have an opportunity to look towards the future and what we can do to make it a bit brighter. And I think we all know what that means, is that November 3rd, 2020 is our opportunity to make sure that democracy is preserved and that we have rule of law that actually is founded in science, values, and the founding principles of our democracy. So with that, I want to thank Ed. I want to thank our TCDP staff who made today's event possible. And I also want to thank our sponsors. We are very, very close to meeting our coordinated campaign fundraising goal. And it's through events like this and the generosity of our sponsors that we're able to make sure that we turn out every Democrat Democratic vote in Travis County possible. But today, my job is actually really exciting, and I'm so thankful. I've been a TCDP chair for 6 weeks now, and it feels like 6 months because it's been so many amazing opportunities to engage the community. So it's been very busy. I can't imagine what it was like being TCP chair for 28 months. And also for 4 years, like today's honorees. We decided to put in an extra award this year to recognize the service to the party from 2 particular individuals. It is a full-time job being TCDP chair, and it's a full-time volunteer job, which is very important. There are a lot of complex situations that come up, and having to guide communities through difficult situations and also celebratory situations and overseeing elections is a lot on anyone's plate. And so I just want to say thank you to all the past chairs who are joining us today, Senator Watson and Andy Brown. But today we're honoring 2 special folks. One is Diana Limon Mercado, the most recent chair of the Travis County Democratic Party, and Chris Elliott. And so with that, I'm going to hand it over to now Dean Watson, but Senator Kirk Watson, who needs no introduction, to introduce our first recipient.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and thanks to all of the Democrats that are out there watching this today and actively engaging in the process. This is, as has already been said, an extremely important election, and I'm really proud of all of you that are actively involved. Please keep it up. We just have a few more weeks to go. You know, if you ask me, you said, Watson, we're going to do a lightning round, and you have to, without hesitating or without thinking, I want you to name the first things that you think of when you hear the name Diana Limon Mercado. I would quickly say fierce passion, a great laugh, and never fails to ask for money. If you then said, okay, you get a little bit of time, I want you to think about it, and I want you to describe why she was a successful chair of the Travis County Democratic Party. I'd say fierce passion, a great laugh, and she never failed to ask for money. And if you ask me personally, why do you like her so much? I'd say fierce passion, a great laugh, and never, actually, I'd probably skip over that last one. Diana Limon Mercado is a person of fierce passion and a person who can take that passion and put it to a practical use. If you name an issue, if you name a cause that we want our party leader to champion and to get action on, whether it's racial justice, equity and inclusion, women's health and a woman's right to choose to have an abortion, public education and our teachers, the environment, child care, public health, well, you get it. Name it. Name it. And Diana has an enviable passion for the people and for their needs. And it's fitting. It's fitting that we would give special recognition for service to this party, the party that we all love so much, to someone that serves with that passion and it serves people the way she does. And there's a reason I mention her laugh. It's just a great laugh. And she uses it by finding humor and fun in things. I've loved being with her on the phone or down at Julio's and talking about even very, very hard things and laughing with her. Too often, we don't find the joy in things, including the work and the service and the advocacy, and sometimes the disappointment. But Diana looks for it. She finds it, and she laughs. Finally, and I raise this really to tease her a little bit, she never fails to ask for money. Really, that's just more of me trying to use an example to say she succeeds at the job of service. Yeah, the truth is that the biggest pain in the butt of that job of being the party chair is asking for and raising money. But you can't do the job without it, even if you're passionate about the causes and the people and you find joy in it. It's just one part of it. But I use that here to represent that she did the nuts and the bolts of that job very well. And for that, we all owe her. So it's my pleasure to say congratulations and thank you to my friend, someone who deserves the recognition because of her passion, because of her joy in service, and because she did it well. Ladies and gentlemen, Diana Limon Mercado.
Thank you so much, Dean Watson, Senator Watson, for those very kind words. As a former party chair yourself, you are very familiar with the particular challenges of this job, and of course, the rewards as well. It is an incredibly rewarding experience, and I am grateful to you for your mentorship and guidance through my years of service. And I know that you, myself, and our other former party chairs will continue to be there for Ed and Katie as they take on these new roles as well. Thank you so much, Senator. You know, myself, I'm honored to receive this award and of course humbled to be here along so many other incredible leaders that we'll be hearing from later in this program. We're also here to honor some of our friends that we recently lost. And today I'm particularly reflecting on the memories in the leadership of former party chair Chris Elliott and my cousin Johnny Limon. While they were both political giants in their own communities, they will be remembered for their patience, kindness, devotion to family, and service to our community. I hope that we each carry their example with us through this election and beyond, because as we know, the fight for our democracy does not end on election day. We must sustain ourselves and sustain the movement and continue to bring in new voices and new leaders with us so that we can continue the fight. I'm honored to receive this award and humbled. I'm looking forward to continuing to serve our party. I've joined my neighborhood precinct team and I'm supporting my local precinct chair to help get out the vote this year for all the great Democrats up and down the ballot. And thank you again to the Travis County Democratic Party for all of the opportunities you have given me for this award today. And congratulations to all of our winners. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is David Escamilla, and unlike today's common format, including the other presenters and honorees, I'll be both introducing our next honoree as well as accepting on his behalf. How I wish this weren't the case. And instead, that after introducing the next honoree, my good friend Chris Elliott, to have him here instead, online, to accept the award, Lifetime Service to the Party Award. Sadly, much as I wish it to be, this can't happen. Chris Elliott passed away just over a week ago after a long and courageous fight with cancer. Chris and I were friends for over 35 years. We met while working in the Texas legislature in the 1980s. He was a recent graduate of Austin College. I was fresh out of UT Law School. We worked in a Texas legislature where both the Senate and the House of Representatives were run by Democrats, before this state made a disastrously wrong turn. Chris spent the better part of the past 2 decades fighting to return Texas and the legislature to Democratic leadership. He served as Travis County Democratic Party chair from 2004 to 2008. During this time as chair, he emphasized the critical importance of getting out the vote, and especially from people of color and from our marginalized communities. To further this, he assured that the coordinated campaign would have the budget and resources to reach out and increase voter turnout from the East Side. I know this because I was fortunate to be his committee chair for the East Side Project. He's kind, a good and fair boss to the TCDP staff. He ran an efficient and organized county executive committee. I never knew him to have an enemy. An accomplished and respected trial lawyer, Chris helped many a victim of injury and unjust treatment. He was a mentor to many lawyers and was always there to support and give advice to Democratic candidates, especially those seeking a judicial bench. I always expected Chris to someday run for a judicial bench, but he was always content to help others instead. I last saw Chris at his home just over a month ago. All social distancing and other precautions were observed. We laughed, spent most of our time catching up on the results of the recent primary runoffs, and the special election to fill Senator Dean Watson's position, and of course, the upcoming presidential election. He felt strongly, as many of us do, that with the damage that has been done to our democracy these past 4 years, this was the most important election of his lifetime. Eventually, our discussion transitioned to what was staring us in the face. No one knew how long he had, but we accepted that it could be around the next corner. He was making the most of the time he had. I'm comforted that he was able to, in the following weeks, to travel to West Texas and Big Bend and his second home in Marathon. He loved that area of Texas. He made this last ride with his best friend and college roommate, Tom Knuckles, Democratic loyalist Dee Sextine, and he visited with friend and Marathon resident James Gaston, himself a former Texas Democratic Party executive director. Chris's work helped set the stage for turning Texas blue, and I'm saddened that he will not be there in November to see Texas Democrats achieve that long sought after goal. But I guarantee you, he'll be at that voting booth with me, as I hope he will be with you, if only in spirit, along with Ann McAfee, Johnny Lamone, Walter Timberlake, Rabbit Duran, Richard Moya, Ann Richards, and yes, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, along with all the others that we've lost along the way in continuing the fight to fulfill the promise of our founding fathers and the Constitution of the United States. I accept this well-deserved recognition of the Honorable Chris Elliott on behalf of his family, his wife Tish Hinojosa Elliott, their daughter Lily, and son Boone, along with his many close friends. Please keep him and his family in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you to the party, and especially Chair Katie Naranjo for choosing to recognize Chris here today. He will be missed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, County Attorney. We really appreciate your friendship and service, both with Chris and to the party and to our community. So next, I do want to take a moment to thank all of the sponsors who are making our coordinated campaign and today's event possible. Today, our hosts, Congressman Lloyd Doggett, Senator Sarah Eckhart, Senator Kirk Watson, Judge Darlene Byrne, and Honorable Andy Brown. I also want to remind folks that in the spirit of today's awards about community, activism, and engagement, that you too can take action today by signing up at travisdems.org/vol. That's travisdems.org/VOL to sign up and join us as we're doing literature drops and making phone calls to make sure we get out the vote this November. We're already well underway with our coordinated campaign efforts, and we need you to help us make sure that we get every Democratic vote out possible this fall. With that, I'm very excited to introduce a dear friend, a college UDEMS friend of mine, known for many years. We have many stories on each other, thankfully, and very proud to see a University Democrat now in office, Justice of the Peace, Judge Nicholas Chu.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the night sky, there are an infinite amount of stars brightening the light into the darkness. Some stars have been burning for a while, constant in their light. Some dim with the passage of time. Then there are the rarest of stars, those that shine bright and as time continues, burns brighter and brighter. The Rising Star Awards are given to individuals who are starting out or more recently established in their political careers and have been dedicated to the advancement of democratic and progressive causes in their professional and/or personal lives. Their light burns bright, but we know as time continues, these stars will only be brighter. It's my honor to kick off the Rising Star section of these awards, and now I believe we will kick it to our first introduction. Zavatic?
Close, Louis Sopik. Thank you, Judge Chu. And thank you everyone for having this amazing event to honor all these amazing leaders. Again, my name is Sopik Alawalia, and I'm honored to introduce Ashley Chang. I actually only met Ashley a few months ago when she'd come to teach some yoga at a new Leaders Council Institute weekend. The moment she got to the center of the room, you could see what makes her so special and one of this year's rising stars. She is a force of nature. She made us feel comfortable and at ease, bending our bodies in all sorts of directions. And since then, what I've gleaned from working with her on a number of projects is that she has a unique quality that our movement so needs today. Ashley is unconditionally loving. Our movement has many smart, hardworking people, many charismatic leaders, but the unique quality of being able to make each individual feel truly heard is rare. And I think that it is something we need now more than ever. And it is the quality which empowers her to do things that most of us wouldn't think possible. Who would have thought that in the midst of the worst pandemic in our lifetimes, that a small group of women would be able to coordinate regular food and resources for hundreds of Austinites experiencing homelessness? Who would have thought that it'd be possible to put together a Dungeons and Dragons fundraiser for a congressional candidate and convince people like Andrew Yang, Indian Matchmaking's Vyasa Ganesan, and the voice actress Erika Ishii to participate? I didn't think this was possible. And when many of us were scared into inaction, it's her immense love for the people of Austin and our movement that drives her to action. It allows her to manifest things that most of us would not even attempt. Ashley simultaneously walks a dozen paths and makes it look easy and effortless. When you're with her in person or in Zoom, you know that you're in the presence of greatness. And anyone who has met her will agree. Ashley, I really cannot wait to see all the amazing things you accomplish for yourself and for our movement. I can't wait to continue working alongside you to make them happen. Congratulations, you really are a rising star.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Satvik. I feel like, calling a woman who is under 5 feet tall a giant is maybe like the best compliment ever to hear. And thank you to the Travis County Democratic Party for this incredible award, which Ash Paul dropped off today, and I feel like I should show it off for y'all now. Thank you very much.
Wow.
Lovely. I am so grateful for this. And it feels really strange, I think, being called a rising star. And Satvik mentioned that I'm a yoga teacher, and I used to always tell my students to breathe and live in a way that lights up your star particles, because our bodies are made of literally the same elements as stars. So I firmly believe that we are all already stars, and we just need people in our lives to peel back that curtain so that we can see that in ourselves. And I've only been at this work for a few years, but this party and this work has introduced me to so many of my very favorite people like Satvik, my new best friends and partners in purpose. And, we started Rouser and the Rabble podcast with the mission to hold people's hands in democracy and make it feel easy and less intimidating and even fun. And my co-creator, Becky Bullard, and I, we are trying to do just that every day because we needed that ourselves, right? Someone to hold us accountable and hold our hands to do this work. We just started a daily democracy challenge at the Rabble that you can subscribe to in any pod store. But I wanted to thank the women in my life who have taken me by the hand in that way and pulled me into this work and spaces of power, honestly, that were not built for people who look like me. And they did this, and they still do, without me even asking. And because for a lot of us, I think we're too intimidated to ask for help, or we don't think we're deserving of it. So I just wanted to take a moment. We just heard from her, but to thank Diana Limon Mercado, who stepped into my life as a mentor without me even realizing it. And she's been an example to me of how you can pull in new voices. I saw that when she appointed me to the TCDP Diversity and Outreach Committee, which totally opened my eyes to this world of this fabulous organization, and to women and friends like Pooja Sethi, who inspired me every day for her dedication to service in our communities. And watching her run for city council has just shown me what it could look like to ask for those positions of leader, and the fact that women of color really belong in leadership. And she pulled me into the quarantine, which I know she's going to be talking about a little bit later today, which showed me how bringing together powerful individuals can make such a huge difference together collectively. And I'd like to thank our activist of the year, Shelly Hayes McMahon, who not only gives just the best hugs that I miss so much, but is this incredible connector. And I've never actually said this to her, and I don't know if she realizes it, but how much this meant to me when she introduced me to Alice Yee, who many of us admire in our community. And I'd like to thank Alice, who I call my political IE. or my auntie. And this woman totally changed my life. She made calls on my behalf when I was running for the DNC, again, without me even knowing that I should ask her to do that. She brought together this incredible group of young API leaders. We just started the Asian Democrat Central Texas, and we are changing the face of leadership in the Central Texas area. And it's changing, who I am and the positions of power I'm giving myself permission to step into. And it's because of all of these giants whose shoulders that I get to stand on, that I can sort of see above that curtain and recognize my own potential and see myself as that star. And I think that's something that we all really need to see that kind of light reflected in each other. So I hope we all get to be that for each other. Thank you guys so much for this incredible honor. And I'm excited to see y'all. I'm lit dropping for Julie Oliver immediately after this. So if anyone wants to come out with me in Hyde Park, I'd love to see you guys. Thank you.
I now have the honor of introducing our next rising star. Our next rising star is Justin Perez, and I promise I won't turn this into a roast as much as I would like to. Justin Perez is a chief of staff for State Rep Celia Israel in the Texas legislature. He also serves as the deputy executive director for the Texas House Democratic Campaign Committee, an organization working to flip the Texas House. Justin has been involved in Democratic activism for over a decade in Travis County, getting his start at the University of Texas as a University Democrat. Hook 'em. And since graduating from UT, Justin has worked on dozens of campaigns and volunteered for many progressive causes in Central Texas, including serving on our local Planned Parenthood community board. But beyond his impressive biography, Justin is truly one of Travis County's superstars. I'm lucky enough to call him a friend. I know him as the funniest, wittiest, and kindest person I've ever met. His work ethic is unparalleled, and his passion for progressive causes and for advancing the Latino community is second to none. Well, except maybe to his boss, Rep Israel. And some of my favorite memories with Justin are the days before early voting begins. We have a tradition of going to polling places to put signs up. We crank up the volume on some Tejano music or reggaeton music and ease our election day anxieties by driving around Travis County putting signs up. And while it sounds like a small thing, given everything else he does on a daily basis, Justin takes every single opportunity to do every single thing to advance Democrats in any way possible. But my favorite part of that tradition is hearing his insight on races. But more importantly, it's his optimism. Justin's spirit is contagious. He makes me believe that we can and will do better. And Justin, I thank you for that. He's dedicated his career to elect people who will protect and fight for the things we care about. He's dedicated his career to electing more women and more people of color. He's truly a Travis County Democratic Party rising star, and the best part is he's just getting started. So Justin, felicidades. I love you. Congratulations. You are so deserving of this, especially I know how hard you work, and let's keep going to November.
Thank you, Bianca. I really appreciate your great introduction. I'm sitting in Bianca's house. Bianca and I are actually roommates, so she is one of, if not my best friend in the world. So I really appreciate the shout out and all the great things you've said. I want to thank everybody. I'll do what Ashley did and show the award. Ash dropped off my award last night too. We sat on the porch and talked for a while, and it was great to see Ash. Ash and I have known each other for a long time. She actually helped on Rep Israel's campaign and was part of our team to elect Rep Israel. So it's great to be with friends at this event and to accept this award. In typical Justin fashion, I don't want to make it about me, and I want to call everyone's attention to two really amazing women who are not in Travis County. But first, give to TCDP. Thanks for supporting TCDP. I know everyone watching and everyone on is excited about the work that's happening here, about protecting Representative Goodwin in her race for the Texas House for re-election and flipping the Commissioner Precinct 3 seat for Ann Howard. But I want to talk about two women who are in Central Texas or Central Texas adjacent who are running to flip the Texas House. We have an Army veteran, Kiki Williams, in Fort Bend, who is running to flip a seat. And we have Selena Montoya, an amazing woman who helps with her family's small business, in San Antonio, and who's built a literacy program that helps children running there as well. And I just urge you all to check out Selena Montoya and Kiki Williams and do whatever you can to help bring these young mothers who we lack on the Texas House floor. We only have a few, to bring their voices to bear. So if you can give them $5, if you can give them $50, if you can give them $500, or if you can join phone banks or text, that's the whole ball game this cycle. We can flip the Texas House and we can change the nation. And that's the big project I've been working on. And I'll leave it there and just say thank you to Celia Israel and everyone else in this community who has helped me grow and has taught me to be a better person and to support others. So thank you, everyone.
Cool. So I'm going to quickly thank our Blue Wave sponsors. Our first sponsor, Representative Vicki Goodwin, then the Honorable Gisela Triana, Rep. Celia Israel, Rep. Donna Howard, Rep. Eddie Rodriguez, the Honorable Wendy Davis, Ann Howard, Julie Oliver, the Honorable Bruce Elfant, and Senator Judith Zaffirini. And with 38 days until Election Day, I can't stress enough everything that Justin just said about, making sure that we keep, certain folks who are in office, and what Ashley mentioned about she's going to go out and do some good work for Julie's race. Help us at, the Travis County Democratic Party. Join us for our phone banks on Sunday afternoons, and they'll be every Sunday from now until Election Day. You can sign up at travisdems.org/vol. So once again, every Sunday from now until Election Day, and travisdems.org/vol to sign up. And with that, I'll kick it off to our next speaker, the one and only Rep. Celia Israel.
Hey, everybody. It's kind of weird to be in this kind of format with everyone. I'm sorry we can't be together personally, but beaming to you live from Northeast Travis County. Let me fix something. Hang on just a second. I told it didn't start my.
So I think I'm going to go ahead and start because Representative Israel looks like she was having some technical problems. And if she comes back, we'll let her hop in. Are you there, Representative? Nope, I thought she was. Well, it's my pleasure, honestly, to present a really important award to Marianne Espirito. It's the Anne McAfee Award. And Celia was going to talk a little bit about the genesis of the award. But of course, it's an award that recognizes someone who has been above and beyond as a precinct chair and who has demonstrated a capacity to do more than any single human being ought to. And any of you who know Marianne know that to be true of her. Marianne, as you know, is a local criminal defense lawyer. You would think she was a full-time volunteer. I'm amazed that she actually finds time to practice law. She's a partner at her own firm. And as an attorney, she's passionate about criminal justice reform and very passionate about the Black Lives Matter movement. She frequently offers pro bono legal services in support and furtherance of both of those causes. But what we know her mostly for is her extraordinary work as the chair of Precinct 250. She is a machine. I don't think I've ever gone to an event where Marianne was not present. And I just cannot imagine how she finds the time to do as much as she does and to be as effective as she is. She engages volunteers and voters across her precinct, even in these really challenging times. And she's done that by leading by example. She's volunteered many hours. She's organized her precinct, participating in canvassing, phone banking, text banking, postcard writing. And of course, her energy and enthusiasm is absolutely infectious. And I have to say, as a person who has the privilege of residing within her precinct, the way Marianne takes very seriously her responsibility as a precinct chair. Of course, the votes that were made recently for our Travis County judge and also for our Travis County Democratic Party chair. She reached out to those of us in her precinct to present questions, not telling us who had written the answers and just getting our opinions to weigh in. And it's just such a beautiful example of the kind of leadership that Marianne provides. I am so proud to call her my friend, my precinct chair, a fellow Democrat, and of course, to congratulate her on this well-deserved award. Marianne.
Thank you so much, Senator Davis. There is one person who also deserves to be recognized, and that is my husband, Daniel Conejo, who has shared in my precinct duties. Daniel attends just as many club meetings and candidate forums, and he takes copious notes on all of the issues. He maps out our canvassing routes. He's printed and sorted flyers. He always stands behind me. He's standing behind me now here in this room, and he's right there, and I thank him for all of his hard work. One of the reasons I work as a precinct chair is, in a word, change. I want to effectuate change and inspire others to do so. I have a vision for this time next year, and I suspect many of you do as well. And what does your vision look like? Is it better education, better roads, better transportation, better representation? If you want to improve anything about your situation right now, you have to fill out your census form. Our leaders need to know where you are and what you need so they can allocate the funds accordingly. And it's not just our government. Businesses also use the census data to figure out where to put restaurants and where to put stores and where to put factories and new jobs. And so if people are not counted, then these things, these wonderful things, they don't go to where they're needed. So please, you have 4 more days to fill out your census form. The deadline is September 30th. And if you don't know where to find that, just slide into my DMs and I will help you out. The other reason I work as a precinct chair is reasons very personal to me. There is a legal concept, and the legal concept is silence equals consent. And when we are silent, we are consenting to things. And I do not consent to the way this country is now. I do not consent to the way me and my family and other Asian Americans are being attacked because certain public officials want to use Asian Americans as scapegoats for their failings in this pandemic. I do not consent to my nieces and nephews having to continue active shooter drills when they go back to school. I do not consent to Breonna Taylor being murdered in her bed. Our silence equals consent. And please sit with that for a while. And when you can no longer sit silent, please join in volunteering, phone banking, text banking, canvassing, writing postcards, and then please vote. We've already won on the issues. We just need every eligible person to vote. Thank you, Travis County Democrats. It is an honor and privilege to work alongside you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Julie Oliver, and I am so pleased today to be presenting a Precinct Chair Award to Michelle Moon Reinhardt. In the aftermath of the 2016 election, women across our country found a new role for themselves: political activists and organizers. They were wives, they were partners, their moms, daughters, sisters, aunts, neighbors, and friends, lawyers, teachers, professionals, volunteers, doctors, and students. You get the idea. They brought those day-to-day roles in their lives into these newfound roles, and they got to work. And so I'm incredibly honored today to introduce Michelle Moon Reinhardt, who co-founded the Blue Action Democrats. You might have heard of them. Originally only serving Southwest Austin, but now with reach across this great state. Michelle worked the nuts and bolts of putting the successful club together on the fly, but she also added the creative flair. She gave Blue Action its professional sheen, and now as president of the Blue Action Dems, Michelle is using her amazing skill set from overall vision into getting into the minutia and the details. She's a team builder. The team of precinct chairs has grown exponentially and learned together under her leadership. And in addition to leading the Blue Action Southwest chapter, she's organized with her precinct dozens and dozens of block captains. And then all on top of this, Michelle has managed a full-time job and being a mom and a wife and caring for her family. Leadership in politics is all about building community, and there is no doubt that the members of the Blue Action Democrats feel that they're part of something big and meaningful. Lynn Kurth, who's another Blue Action Dem founder and organizer and wonderful woman in her own right, told me that she gets a kick out of watching Michelle hatch an idea, just to watch where her brain is going and get the, oh, hell yeah, let's do it. I mean, this is all about getting shit done, right? That is their motto, Blue Action Dems, getting shit done. So it's been exciting to see voter turnout increase in Southwest Austin. And we owe Michelle a huge, enormous debt of gratitude for all of the sacrifices she's made. She's definitely one kick-ass precinct chair.
Thanks, Julie. Oh my gosh, that was so awesome. If only it wasn't about me. That was awesome. Thank you. And thanks, Chair Naranjo, and all my fellow precinct chairs. You guys are all so amazing. I'm super humbled by the recognition and just honored to be in such amazing company today for this award. Congratulations to all the honorees today. I am a little bit embarrassed to tell you that when I became a chair in late 2017, I had never block walked. I had never called any voter. I had never done GOTV in a meaningful way. It's a little embarrassing now to say that out loud, because I know many of you have been working and fighting and doing this amazing work for so long, and I honor you as well today. I remember when Carrie Collier-Brown invited me to the first meeting, actually, to get out the vote for Wendy Davis when she ran for governor. And I could not even fathom knocking a door. And now that doorbell means that people are coming to my house to get turfs to walk today. We have at least 50 to 60 people out leaving lit all over Southwest Austin today. So we've come a long way, baby. All of us have come a long way. We've gone from couch to activist in the blink of an eye, thanks to Donald Trump. I guess that's the silver lining. There's so many horrible things, but we are together and we have found each other and we are organizing like never before. And we are block walking and talking to volunteers. As Julie said, a group of us sat around a kitchen table and formed a Blue Action Democrats Southwest Austin because we had to do something. We were called to make this better for our kids, for the environment, for people who are not like us, but that deserve justice, right? Marianne talked about that today. Without the driving force behind that, Carrie Collier-Brown, without her mentorship, I would not have known where to begin. I would not have known what to do. She gave so many of us in Southwest Austin a roadmap to get involved and to bring others with us, because we know people, right? We're all in a community here. We know so-and-so from school and so-and-so from church, and we share these values and we have come together. Carrie really pushed us to do more than what we thought we could do. More doors, more postcards, more calls, more texts. And we did reach more voters and we did increase turnout. It's been an amazing ride to be on. And Lynn Kurth, Julie mentioned Lynn, she's the chair of Precinct 354. She's been instrumental in growing my capacity for organizing and my capacity within the Democratic Party. And I am forever grateful to you, Lynn, for your friendship and your encouragement. Others like Mary Patrick, Susan Ragona, Marvin Heckler, some of which are being honored today, offered training and encouragement as well as accountability to making sure we're getting it right. So we appreciate that, and thank you guys for all that you do. Finally, I want to thank the precinct chairs that work shoulder to shoulder with me in the 21 precincts that we cover in Southwest Austin. Sometimes being a precinct chair is kind of lonely. It's kind of, you feel the weight of all the responsibility. But working with these folks together to brainstorm and best practices and to help each other so we don't feel alone, it's been really one of the great highlights of the last 3 to 4 years for me. And as I speak, of course, they're all out hitting the doors and dropping their precincts, reaching crucial Democratic households to bolster turnout, to get people like Julie and Wendy elected, and to keep seats like Donna Howard and Vicki Goodwin. We have those in mind this fall. So for Karen, for Jen, Elizabeth, Ross, Rachel, Nita, Barbara, Jeanette, Joe, Robin, Jennifer, Tina, Lizette, Elisa, John, Maria, and JC, thank you. I share this award with you, and I can't wait when we flip Texas. Thanks, guys.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lisa Cope, and I'm an advisory board committee member with the Travis County Democratic Party. Very honored to be here, and I'm very pleased that I'm going to be thanking sponsors at the change maker level. So I want to thank everybody out there who's change makers in Travis County, and these following are change makers we'd like to thank today. The Honorable Amy Clark Meacham, the Honorable Tamara Needles, the Honorable Jan Seufer, Rick Kennedy, Mike Siegel, Jessica Mangrum, Amy and Ed Cunningham, the Honorable Catherine Mousy, Jose Garza, the Honorable Delia Garza, the Honorable Sally Hernandez, the Honorable Nick Chu, and Mayor Steve Adler and Diane Land. Also, I'd like to place a call out for action. Can you join us for our early vote weekend of action on October 10th and 11th for lit drops? You can sign up at travisdems.org/vol. That's travisdems.org/VOL. And now I have the honor of introducing our next speaker, Mayor Pro Tem Delia Garza. Take it away, Delia.
Hi, thank you. Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
I'm Mayor Pro Tem Delia Garza. I also wanted to add Happy Hispanic Heritage Month to our entire community. I'm so proud to be part of this amazing progressive community where I'm very grateful to sit on a female majority city council. And in fact, many of our bodies here in Travis County are female majority. And so it's no surprise that the category that I will be introducing is also female majority. In fact, it's all female. But before I do that, I just want to remind folks that we are days before an incredibly important election. And I want our Latino community to know that it will not be as meaningful as we need it to be if we do not get out there and vote. We can all do something. In fact, this morning I went to pick up my lit drop packet, and I will find the time today, tomorrow, and the coming days to get that literature dropped. So the Volunteer Award is awarded to individuals in recognition of outstanding efforts in volunteering for progressive causes or nonprofits, as well as for democratic organizations or candidates. And now your award winners.
Hi, my friend and neighbor, LaDonna Massett, has been an amazing volunteer for my precinct, the Southwest Austin Blue Action Democrats and the Travis County Democratic Party. She's actually one of my neighbors, and so I'm here introducing her today. 12 years ago, when Obama was first running, LaDonna hopped on a bus with other Austin and San Antonio volunteers and spent a week in New Mexico trying to turn Valencia County blue for the first time in 40 years, and they did it. In 2013, LaDonna was at the Capitol almost every day for weeks, ahead of Wendy Davis's now famous filibuster. She felt that by being in Austin and having easy access to the Capitol, she could represent other women who couldn't attend. That night, people nationwide sent pizza, sandwiches, and cookies to help the volunteers stay up all night and support Wendy. That experience led her to work with Battleground Texas. In 2017, her younger son survived the Route 91 massacre in Las Vegas, and that month she joined Moms Demand Action. She has since lobbied at the Capitol with various gun reform groups. She's been on board with the Blue Action Dems in my precinct for several years. LaDonna has worked countless hours at the Southwest Austin office during election seasons and has been a reliable in-person resource to both Southwest Austin volunteers, precinct chairs, and the TCDP. This summer, along with Ross Pumphrey, LaDonna oversaw an even more massive voter outreach by coordinating writing and delivery of tens of thousands of postcards to voters, which was necessary for getting the word out during this pandemic in lieu of knocking on doors. She works with a group of 21 precinct chairs to coordinate many efforts to also include literature distribution and volunteer recruitment for preparing lit packets. LaDonna has hosted many Dem volunteer gatherings at her home with special homemade goodies, which are a fave for all of us. She's also block walked, input data, carried out social media outreach. She's handled countless ad hoc requests for our group and me personally. Thank you, LaDonna. I value LaDonna as a friend, a precinct volunteer, but also a volunteer who's out there for our community and the county party. I'm so proud of her recognition as Volunteer of the Year, and she's an inspiration to other volunteers to go above and beyond and make huge impacts. Congratulations, LaDonna.
Thank you, Jennifer, and thank you, TCDP, for this honor. This year, for many of us, volunteerism has been a godsend. In times of turmoil, activism helps us turn our anxiety into action. My husband once told me that I am good at community building, and I thought, well, that's a funny thing to say. I mean, isn't everyone? I didn't see building community as a gift. I just like to talk. But I guess it's true that I do have a lot of villages, and I am thankful for the one I found with Blue Action Democrats. I feel so fortunate to have taken on the postcard initiative for the Southwest chapter. This spring, back when we still had an office where people could congregate, I opened it up 2 days a week as a gathering spot for people to write postcards or pick up yard signs and stuff voter registration bags. You know, building community. I miss our happy band of volunteers. We, along with the writers at our Thursday postcard parties run by precinct chairs Karen Kelly and Nita Hansen, turned out 8,000 postcards, all in an effort to get out the vote for the Democratic primary. My volunteer boss, Michelle, who you met earlier, thought, why not be ambitious and try for 18,000 for the fall? And then the pandemic hit, and I wondered whether we could reach that goal. But you know what? A pandemic is a funny thing. People are at home with time on their hands, and they're doom scrolling social media, and they are worried about our state and our country, and they become motivated. We didn't write 18,000 postcards. We wrote 50,000 postcards, way more than we could use in Southwest Austin. So we partnered with Flip the Texas House to send cards to voters in the close house races all over the state. I love that the state can leverage our work in one corner of Austin, and I love that our volunteers were all about helping wherever the help was needed. So postcards are going next month to support Kiki Williams in Killeen and Elizabeth Beck in Fort Worth and tons of other races. Of course, while Ross Pumphrey and I have overseen this massive operation all summer, we couldn't have done it without the dozens and dozens of volunteers who've stepped up again and again. They may have started writing postcards, but they have remained engaged, and now they stamp and label and stuff bags of literature and leave voter registration cards at apartments all over the city, and they walk their own neighborhoods, and they keep asking us for more. It's clear from the email and texts I received that the work we are doing, the work that you are doing, is so important. A lot of my writers are older and don't leave their homes. They are helping us by writing postcards, but I can see how we're helping them by turning that anxiety into action. They understand what's at stake in this election, and I'm thrilled to play a small part in trying to right this ship. I want to thank my sons, Michael and Thomas, who supported me through the years and came with me to everything from school board meetings to the Capitol to watch the Wendy Davis filibuster. And I want to thank my husband, Michael, standing right here, who is my very own Marty Ginsburg, supporting me all the way. Thank you again, TCDP, for this honor.
All right. Greetings, everybody. I'm assuming I'm on. If I'm not, let me know. I'm delighted and honored to introduce Barbara Mason, recipient of the TCDP 2020 Volunteer Award. Thank you, Barbara, for your years of dedication and volunteer contributions to the TCDP and to so many of our Democratic communities. I'm fortunate to know you and be your friend. I first met Barbara in 2013 when we attended a Battleground Texas training for organizers, getting prepared to volunteer to get our Democrats elected in Texas. After this training, Barbara went forward full speed ahead as a neighborhood team leader and did indeed build a very effective neighborhood team for Battleground Texas. But she didn't stop there. She became a TCDP precinct chair, organizing and canvassing her precinct to do voter registration and get out the vote during every election cycle. She was deputized as a BDR. She created a new Democratic club in Northwest Austin. She joined the Women for Good Government, thank you, donating countless volunteer hours during their election cycle workdays. And she agreed to serve as a member of the Women for Good Government Executive Committee. Since 2016, coordinating with ACC, she initiated, organized, managed, and recruited VDRs for voter registration across all their campuses, both in the fall and the spring. She contributed countless hours to TCDP, including painting the TCDP office on East 6th Street. She donated countless hours to the Texas Democratic Party in 2018 and 2020, and is one of a very small group of volunteers who works in person at the 2020 TCDP Southwest headquarters. She continues to walk her neighborhood, dropping lit, promoting Dems and voting, countless hours, and many miles. Barbara is a quiet and modest person full of ideas and energy. She is the epitome of the person who walks the talk. Though in her case, very little talk and lots of walk. Congratulations, Barbara, for this very well-deserved recognition.
Thank you so much, Mary. Thank you, and thank you to Travis County Democratic Party for this honor. I'm a big believer that it takes a village. It takes a village to raise a child, and it also takes a village to keep a volunteer going. So I want to give a shout out to the villages and the communities and the teams and the families that nurture me in this work. Truly, this honor belongs to all of you. First, our team in Precinct 333, ably led by our precinct chair, Dale Webb. We are block captains, postcard writers, and neighbor-to-neighbor persuaders who have turned Canyon Creek blue, and we're not resting on our laurels. Also, to my Far Northwest Progressives Club family, we started Far Northwest Progressives in 2017 because there wasn't another Democratic club that we could get to in rush hour traffic. And also, as a small group of precinct chairs, we knew that we weren't going to be successful unless we worked together. So I guess you could say that we pioneered the super precinct concept. And we don't just meet. Our project this cycle is to increase Democratic turnout in the 13 large apartment complexes that are in our area. And I'm proud to say that from the 2016 Democratic primary to this year's primary, Democratic turnout in those apartment complexes increased 85%, and we're not done yet. And of course, all of these teams are supported by Travis County Democratic Party, our inspiration, our direction, and certainly the best in the state. Also, my church family, University United Methodist Church and Pastor John Elford are well known for social justice work. And actually, I got my start in Travis County activism at a VDR training that was organized by the church. And it's my moral grounding in the United Methodist Church that gives me my continuing passion for social change. And then there's my Women for Good Government group. Our family, led by the incomparable Mary Patrick, and our executive committee. This group of mostly women, but also a few men, put in thousands and thousands of hours of work every cycle for TCDP and for the Texas Democratic Party, stuffing and rubber banding and stapling and folding, getting things ready for mail, whatever the task is. And I'm so proud to be part of that group. So again, thank you so very much for this honor. I accept it in the name of all of my villages and families and teams. Truly, this award belongs to all of you. Thank you.
Hey everyone, it's me again. Coming back to thank our sponsors at the team leader level, Honorable Greg Kassar, State Representative Gina Hinojosa, Marcia Burnett Webster, Phil and Adam Lowy, the Honorable George Morales, Honorable Julie Kasurik, Brad Urrutia, Honorable Brad Urrutia, Lorenz and Lorenz, they're on top of it, Honorable Maya Guerra Gamble, Rebecca Bell Medero, Honorable Kim Williams, and of course, County Commissioner Jeff Trevelyan, also the Honorable, and Circle C area Democrats down in Southwest Austin, my part of town. Finally, I want everyone to invite everybody to join us for our phone bank on Tuesdays from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Every Tuesday until Election Day, you can sign up at travisdems.org/vol. And that domain again is travisdems.org/vol. But of course, you've got that memorized. It's now my pleasure to introduce another Ed, a good friend of mine and our state representative on the East Side, the Honorable Eddie Rodriguez. Eddie, it's yours to take it away.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you. 2020, I don't have to tell all of you, has been a very challenging and difficult year for the Travis County community, and it's been very tough on the Travis County Democratic Party family and community as well. Please join me in honoring our friends that we have lost this year. These Democrats, our friends, were true public servants who gave their time and efforts to improving their own communities and electing more Democrats. First, Dorothy Brown, longtime political campaign volunteer and policy advisor for Governor Ann Richards and Land Commissioner Gary Morrow. She was a mainstay at the Texas Capitol. I was proud to know her there as she was working with Representative Elliot Neistat as well. Rosalio Rabbit Duran, a political and social pillar in East Austin. Rabbit was the owner of Rabbit's Lounge, AKA The Place, which was often filled with Democratic politicos and community leaders. Johnny Limon. My good friend, Johnny Limon, was a pillar of East Austin. The East Austin community, served as board member for Housing Works Austin, advisor to the Guadalupe Neighborhood Development Corporation, choir director at Santa Julia Catholic Church in East Austin, vice president of Austin Tejana Music Coalition, and he delivered food for 24 years with Meals on Wheels. You can't think of East Austin and not think of Johnny. Chuy Morales. Chuy and his wife Connie settled in Dove Springs, raising 8 children and generations of grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and great-great-grandchildren over the nearly 57 years of marriage. Jan Reed. Jan was Dorothy Brown's husband. He was a brilliant journalist, historian, and chronicler of Texas music, He was published for over 45 years. Aaron Raymond. Aaron was the son of State Representative Richard Benya Raymond. Aaron was an Eagle Scout who loved God, his family and friends, and his teachers. Walter Timberlake, my friend. Walter was a lifelong Democrat and Mr. South Austin Democrats. He was a master electrician, past president and business agent of IBEW 520, and a Yeller Dog Democrat. Lois Villaseñor. For decades, Lois Villaseñor had helped Latino families coping with the death of loved ones. She was the first Latina to serve on the Texas Funeral Service Commission as a 1989 appointee of Governor Bill Clements. She also served on the Board of Catholic Charities and Latino political groups, and at one point as the president of the local council of the League of United Latin American Citizens. And finally, I want to recognize those killed in the struggle for social justice and criminal justice reform in the Black Lives Matter movement. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. It's Greg Casar, City Council member, and I am so excited to introduce the Activist of the Year Award. Activist of the Year in 2020 means something pretty different, I think, because it's, so many of us have been engaged in activism. So many people are stepping up in incredible ways right now, but I'm really proud of who the party has chosen to honor with this award this year, because both of these folks have found ways to turn our collective pain right now into some really powerful action and long-term change. Because this year it's so clear that activism has always been about fighting for other people, fighting to save our very democracy, and to include people in that democracy who are most hurt and who most need change in our society. And so I'm thrilled to that we'll be introducing here in a little while both Shelly and Alejandrina. Shelly, has taught and shown so many of us how to really live both racial justice and feminism in our politics. And then Alejandrina has been a long time hero of mine. Actually, when she and I first met, we were in the Capitol, and we had never met before, but we know who each other were. And I pointed at her and she pointed at me, and we both said, "I want to take a picture with you." So it's just so great to be able to honor these two activists today in such an important year for activism and social change.
Hi, and welcome everyone. I am so delighted. I am Carla Braley. I serve as Vice Chair of the Texas Democratic Party. And I was absolutely elated when I found out that I can even just say the name Shelly, because Shelly is the sister, the woman, the activist, the advocate, the mom, the sister, the friend, the administrator, the backbone that you want on your team. I always tell Shelly, she may not remember, but I always say, girl, if I ever just need a compliment, I'm calling you, or I'm going to text you, just say, tell me something good about myself. And that is who Shelly is. You are honoring someone who honors people every day in the work that she does, the tireless work. Sometimes she just knows she has to be the one to get it done. And it's people like Shelly that you want on your team. She's an activist. And as I said, she's a mom, and she's a mom that's imparting in her children, just like she's helping our children to have a future by saying, look, your voice matters. And she models that. Even I tell, you all probably know it takes about 7 times to ask a woman to run. I don't know how many times it took Shelly, but I do know she's courageous. I do know that when she's in the spaces, in the place, she has a voice, and the voice just reminisces all around what issues are prevalent to women. And so, Shelly, I want to tell you, as I've told you several times before, thank you, thank you, thank you for doing what you're doing. And I am not surprised that you're Activist of the Year.
Well, thank you, Dr. Braley. I don't even know what to say after all of that. They dropped my award off this morning, so I am thrilled to hang this on the wall. But today, instead of talking about me, I am more than happy to hand it off to Kim Cole. Kim is representing a cause that is near and dear to my heart, the case of Crystal Mason. So as that, I'm going to hand it off to Kim.
This is attorney Kim T. Cole. I am one of Crystal Mason's attorneys. And first of all, I would just like to thank Shelly for yielding her time to this very important cause during a moment where she is being celebrated for her efforts. In the true spirit of an advocate, she has yielded her time to a cause for the greater good. So thank you, Shelly, for continuing to be who you are, and obviously why you deserve the award as Activist of the Year. In any regard, Crystal Mason was wrongfully prosecuted and convicted of voter fraud. Crystal is a felon. She had a felony offense back in 2011. However, she did her time. She got out, and in 2016, she had started a new career, had completed beauty school, and was reintegrating herself back into society. She, at the urging of her mother, she went to go vote. And when she arrived at the polls, they couldn't find her name on the list. So they suggested that she complete a provisional ballot. Crystal completed the provisional ballot, filed her ballot, and left the polling place. Several weeks later, Crystal was arrested for illegally voting, and she was very confused because she didn't understand what was going on. She didn't understand why she used her ID. She used her proper address. She made sure everything matched perfectly as she was instructed. And she didn't understand why she was being arrested. Well, as it ends up, Crystal was advised that because she was on federal supervised release, she was not eligible to vote and thus had committed voter fraud. Here in Texas, as you all are well, you have the right to vote. And Crystal was not certain as to, well, actually, she was certain that she did have the right to vote. That's common knowledge that felons do have the right to vote in the state of Texas. And she was unaware that being on supervised release was a prohibition to voting. The law here in Texas requires, in order for Crystal to have been convicted of illegally voting, it requires that she knew that she was not eligible to vote, and she didn't. However, they convicted Crystal anyway, and they sentenced her to 5 years in prison. So here we are. Crystal is faced with 5 years in prison. Her initial appeal to the Second Court of Appeals was denied. She is now, we are in the process of filing for her appeal to the Court of Criminal Appeals. If that appeal is denied, if they decline to hear Crystal's case, she will go to prison for 5 years. Throughout all of this, Crystal has maintained her faith in God. She still maintains her faith that justice will prevail here. She has actually organized a nonprofit to fight against voter suppression. It's called Crystal Mason the Fight. And she has encouraged 12 members of her family to become voter registrars, and they hold voter registration events and community advocacy and education events with regard to voting rights all across the state of Texas. So Crystal is using her unfortunate event to make sure that others do not suffer the same consequences that she has, and also to advocate for voting rights and to fight against voter suppression here in the state of Texas and across the country. Crystal is planning to come to Austin, and we ask all of you to join her in her efforts. We will be making an appeal to Governor Abbott to pardon Crystal or to commute her sentence to time served. And we sincerely request that everyone join in that effort. Thank you all. And thank you, Shelley. Congratulations.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kathy Cranston, and I'm with Adaptive Texas, Rev Up Texas, and Personal Attendant Coalition of Texas. It is an honor to be here to introduce our next honoree for the Ann McAfee Award, Alejandrina Guzman. Before she speaks, I would like to just say a few words. Our paths initially crossed at the Capitol, where I do quite a bit of work there myself. She was an intern or a staffer for one of the legislators there. And actually I think we were doing like a protest in the rotunda, and I happened to step out, and that's where I met her for the first time. I had already heard of her initially, actually, from the Statesman article that spoke of her as being the first Tejana UT student body president with a physical disability. And so what I did was basically I invited her to join our organization, to come be part of Adaptive Texas. And so she did. We worked with Voto Latino. We've worked with the Democrats with Disabilities Caucus. And she's just a real go-getter. She's an awesome woman. And when she did come in and join with Adapt, she also has a willingness to step out of her comfort zone, meaning what we do is we do direct action. So she participated in us taking over the state Republican Party. Of course, she was wearing her hat as an ADAPT member. And so it was just an awesome time with her. She's shown her perseverance, her persistence. She's a unifier, a coalition builder. I could just talk on and on about Alejandrina and all her things that she has accomplished. But in all of this, she has gotten into good trouble, and it is good. And so I look forward to seeing what more she will do in the work in her future, and also seeing what good trouble she is willing to get into. So congratulations, Alejandrina, and thank you so much for making a difference in our community for people with disabilities.
Hi, everyone. This is Alejandrina Guzman speaking. I am a Mexican-American woman with long black hair, wearing glasses, hoop earrings, and a red dress. Thank you so much, Kathy, for sharing this space with me and truly taking me under your wing. Wednesday, February 26th. I enter our meeting place looking for Kathy and the rest of the Adapt of Texas group. Soon after, we get the signal to start moving. 10 of us zooming alongside Highway 290 going towards the Austin Lyft headquarters. It's cold and windy, and of course, I'm wearing flip-flops. We enter the headquarters holding our protest signs that say, Lyft, 8830, we will ride. To another one with, come on, Lyft, the ADA is 30 years old already. And another one with, disabled people vote too. We were there because we had found out that Lyft was providing free and discounted rides for people to go vote, but no wheelchair accessible options. We had one goal: don't erase us. We chanted over and over, we will ride, we will ride, we will ride. Access is a civil right. Access is a civil right. Access is a civil right. We protested inside the headquarters for 5 hours. And then Lyft scheduled us a conference call with their executives. Next day, we had the call and came to an agreement for a rough draft of a pilot program to launch for Super Tuesday. Late afternoons before Super Tuesday, we get an update. For Austin locations, a 20-mile radius specifically, there would be free wheelchair accessible rides to the polls. Here's the thing. I'm sharing one story with the mic that I have right now. I'm one person of the whole disability community. Now, in the times of COVID-19 and Black Lives Matter and Black Disabled Lives Matter uprisings, disabled people are actively organizing and fighting for disability justice. From demanding funding for home and community-based services to calling for the abolishment of carceral systems, which includes nursing homes, to surging social media with hashtag disabled not disposable. We've been at the front lines, we are at the front lines, and we will continue being at the front lines. When we think of activism, we may imagine the always-on mentality or the resilient group. Activism is exhausting, painful, and claws at your existence, constantly looking for co-conspirators to be in the collective fight with you. At the same time, activism gives me hope because we're still here. We are the light, dreaming of a better world that can only happen through an intersectional and interdependent movement. And we're on our way. In solidarity and free our people. Thank you.
Free our people.
Fantastic. Congratulations indeed to our activists. My name is Ash Hall. I serve as one of the advisory committee members for the CEC of the Travis County Democratic Party, and apparently also as a prize deliverer extraordinaire. So that's been very fun. I just want to take a moment to thank our accomplice level sponsors, including the Honorable Elizabeth Earle, the Honorable David Escamilla, the Honorable Carlos Lopez, the Honorable Eric Shepard, Dana Blasey, the Capital Area Progressive Democrats, Hans Magnusson, and Tom Nichols. Democrats, don't forget to join us for our phone bank on Sunday afternoon, every Sunday, in fact, until Election Day. You can sign up at travisdems.org/vol, but you probably already knew that. And without further ado, I am very pleased to introduce the Honorable Commissioner Jeff Trevelyan.
Good morning, or should I say good afternoon at this point. I am honored today to be with you to present the organization awards. They constantly remind us that our vote is our voice. Organization is and organizations are the life's blood of our activism. You know, some people scoff at community organizers, but when we see our organizers work, we know that the term progressive is more than just a slogan. We recognize that our common goals define our society, and our organizations help us get there, make us understand, work with us continually. So I'm very proud today to recognize the Black Austin Democrats, the Austin Justice Coalition, and Blue Action Democrats, because they represent a proud tradition. When you think about the Black Austin Democrats, they came into being when African American representation was sparse. But because of the historic work that was done, we can remember names like Arthur B. DeWitty, like Mildred Holloway, Sam Biscoe, Hazel Obey, Richard Scott, Wilhelmina Delco, Ron Davis, and Nelda Spears. That organization did everything to make sure that we have the opportunity to represent a perspective that often isn't at the table in this community. Also, we're going to recognize the Austin Justice Coalition. It's going to be represented today by Chaz Moore. Black Austin Democrats will be represented by Jamar Brown, who's their president this year. Austin Justice Coalition reminds us in the spirit of John Lewis that Black Lives Matter, represents the next generation of leadership, working with the tradition of African Americans in politics and the community. We're so proud of both of those organizations. And when we talk about Blue Action Democrats, the word that comes to mind to me is camaraderie. A group that came to being because community members, friends, colleagues were sitting across the table from each other and decided that we can do more. We can knock on doors, we can mail envelopes, we can talk to everybody and make them know that we will work and we will work hard to make sure that we achieve equity and fairness for us all in this community. So I want to recognize once again the Black Austin Democrats led by Jamar Brown, the Austin Justice Coalition led by Chaz Moore, and also the Blue Action Democrats as well.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Thank you so much. And thank you to the Travis County Democratic Party. My name is Jamar Brown, and I am honored to be the 2020 president of the Black Austin Democrats. I'm so grateful to the Travis County Democratic Party for this Organization of the Year award. We know that we want to make all of our Black leaders in this community proud. And Commissioner, I hope that we're making you proud by the work that we're doing. The Black Austin Democrats would not be the organization it is today, but we stand ready to continue to make our beloved Democratic Party and Travis County better. I want to thank Ed and Katie for leading this party. I want to thank all of our Democratic friends, from elected officials to precinct chairs to Democratic clubs and just so many more supporters. I also cannot express enough gratitude to all of our board members, Alondra Johnson-Lujan, Jerica Thomas-Hockaday, Joy Harden, Ebony Bennett, Rashida Wright, Nicole Thompson, and even one of our activists of the year, Shelly Hayes McMahon, along with our over 100 members. They are the reason we work hard every day. And I'm always proud to report that the state of the Black Austin Democrats is strong and powerful in this community. We're also honored to receive this award alongside our amazing friends and partners at the Austin Justice Coalition and our friends at Blue Action Democrats. The work we do is round up in what Shirley Chisholm says, that you don't make progress by standing on the sidelines, whimpering and complaining. You make progress by implementing ideas. And that's why this year, even when we presented so many challenges, from the killings of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and so many more, that we are still fighting against our votes being suppressed on a daily basis. We're still fighting this disproportionate disadvantage within this pandemic. We are literally fighting for our lives in this community, and we will continue to do that. We've worked this year to uplift the voices of Crystal Mason to fight for her constitutional right to vote, advocated for a Juneteenth to be a city holiday, and done so much more. In 38 days, we face one of the most consequential elections in our modern history. Who we elect up and down the ballot matters. Our Black lives matter. Our Black voters matter. Our Black voices matter. Our Black issues matter. We are committed to doing everything we can every day to ring a bell that Black lives matter. And they don't just matter today or tomorrow or next week or next month or just at November 3rd. They matter every single day. Black voters have been the backbone of the Democratic Party for decades. We will continue to amplify those voices. I'm honored to stand beside each and every one of you in our Travis County Democratic Party, and we look forward to having victory on November 3rd because we deserve progress on all of our issues. I can't thank you all enough for this award today. It means so much to grow the organization to the point where it is today, and we continue to do that work. So make sure you join our movement at www.blackaustindemocrats.org. Again, www.blackaustindemocrats.org. We look forward to seeing you on the campaign trail, and we look forward to making progress for our community for years to come. Thank you to the Travis County Democratic Party.
Thank you so much, Jamar. Thank you for your leadership with Black Austin Democrats and within the Travis County Democratic Party as one of our advisory committee members. I am actually just joining for a moment to thank the Austin Justice Coalition. Chaz Moore had to leave to go be with a family who is yet again grieving loss due to gun violence. And so we very much appreciate his service and understand he is where he needs to be at this moment today and is not able to join us after all, but we still want to lift up and recognize the important contribution of the Austin Justice Coalition and their ability to make sure that the power of people of color who live in Austin are supported, are given a community, and are given voice. And so thank you to the Austin Justice Coalition, and thank you to Chaz, who cannot be here with us today. With that, we'll hear from Carrie Collier-Brown for Blue Action Democrats.
Thank you, Katie Naranjo, and Vice Chair Ed Espinosa, and the TCDP staff for your leadership in our community and your guidance and your encouragement to each one of us to do more. I'm honored to accept this award on behalf of the hundreds of Blue Action Democrats volunteers who are working tirelessly to get out the vote every day. And what an honor to be recognized as alongside Black Austin Democrats and the Austin Justice Coalition. They're incredible organizations who are doing the work to make our community better every day. And I am so thrilled to see Blue Action leaders like Michelle Reinhart honored for her service as a precinct chair, and LaDonna Massad for her work as a super volunteer. In the wake of the 2016 election, we found ourselves, like many of you, wishing we had done more. Voter participation is essential to ensuring that elected representatives truly represent the common good. But I was startled to learn just how low voter turnout is in Texas and even in Southwest suburban Austin, where I live. And part of the reason is why it's so low is because the Texas legislature tried to draw us out of our own democracy by creating extremely gerrymandered districts that allow elected officials to choose their voters and ignore the rest of us. I thought, surely somebody was doing something about it. And then I realized that I'm that somebody. We are that somebody. Democracy is not a spectator sport. We each have a personal responsibility to work toward the common good of all of us. And that includes actively participating in our democracy. So a group of eight of us neighbors sat around a dining room table in late 2017 and came up with a game plan. We all had jobs and kids and parents to take care of, and we had limited time, but we wanted to really make that count. And we figured there were other people in our neighborhood who also wanted to volunteer but didn't know where to start or what to do. So we created Blue Action Democrats. the Get Shit Done Club, to mobilize progressive voters in our suburban neighborhoods. We believe the Democratic Party is made up of people who show up, and we wanted more of these people in far-flung suburban communities to show up for Democrats. We had no idea what we were doing, but we figured it out and we got to work. Modeled on Lynn Kerr's precinct 354, we recruited block captains and organized block walks to reach out to neighbors who were those sometimes voters, people who already agreed with us but didn't think that it was worth their time or effort to vote. And at one of the first doors that I knocked on in my neighborhood for the 2018 election, I met a woman who thought her vote wouldn't matter, and she whispered to me, "I'm the only Democrat in my neighborhood." But I could show her on my minivan app with all those little blue dots, and those were all her neighbors who were also Democrats, and her face lit up. She committed to vote, and I invited her to our next neighborhood volunteer meeting. And now our little group of 8 determined neighbors in Southwest Austin has grown to 4 chapters. The OG Club in Southwest Austin, led by Michelle Reinhart, the North Austin Club, led by Michelle Currens and Teresa Pham, in South Central Austin, led by Michelle Weber and Linda Nuss, and we even have a chapter in Bexar County. And we have a statewide organization to coordinate those chapters and also coordinate with Carrie Marshall's Flip the Texas House campaign. I am continuously blown away by their dedication and creativity. They have recruited precinct chairs and trained hundreds of volunteers to knock on doors, phone bank, text bank, write more than 100,000 postcards to voters. They've created communities of active citizens who donate their time and money to the Democratic Party and Democratic candidates. We keep setting crazy goals and they smash all of them, and they have fun while they're doing it. So I appreciate every one of you taking the time out of your busy schedules to be part of building a community of active citizens. We need you. And true to form, I have to give you an action item. I want you to work your circles to make sure your people are registered to vote and they know where and how to vote safely. Sign up to volunteer and bring a buddy. Thank you.
Hey guys, this is Daniel Seward Kelly, at-large advisory committee member, precinct chair, and vice president of Stonewall Democrats. We want to thank some more of our wonderful sponsors. Todd Wong, Honorable Karen Crump, Blue Action Democrats, this year's organization honoree, Marvin Hecker, Lizzie Burr, the Honorable Velva Price, and the Honorable Bob Perkins. I want to make again another call to action and remind folks that there's still a lot of work to be done, and so we hope that you will join the coordinated campaign. Join us for our early vote weekend of action on October 10th and 11th for lit drops. You can sign up at travisdems.org/VOL. Again, that's travisdems.org/VOL. You know, when I think of our next presenter, I think about how who would have thought that Democrats would be fighting for local control. I'm so thankful to our next presenter for being such an incredible example of our democratic values at the local level. He will be introducing some other great local heroes, Mayor Steve Adler.
Thank you so much, and thanks Katie and Ed and Jeff and everybody that's here. Daniel, thank you. This is an important award, and I'm real excited to be able to be part of the presentation. This is where we really recognize the activists and leaders who inspire us and set examples for the community. And these organizations have done that. These organizations and these people have really shown what it is to follow in the footsteps of Ann McAfee. So there are organizations that stepped in and stepped up during the most difficult time really our city has faced, our state, our country, and our world. This pandemic is not over. Our numbers are down. We as a city need to try to do what many other cities have not been able to do, and that's to keep the numbers down, even when it feels like we have it in hand and we've moved past it. This virus is still infectious, and we have to try to do what so many cities have not been able to do, and that's to stay focused. I ask you all, please wear your masks. The more you wear masks, the more people around you will do that. This is something we can all do, and this is something that we all need to do. But some of us, among us, have done even more. The work of the honorees tonight as organizations these organizations are a big part of what is going to help this city exit this crisis as a stronger, fairer, and more just city than when we entered it. So let me introduce the honorees today. The first is Quarantine. Pooja Sethi is going to speak. This group consists of 5 women, Pooja and Kenan Wooten and Margaret Chen Kircher and Julianne Nitsch and CJ Chow and Ashley Chang, all civically active in some way. But they take turns now, spending 1 day a week sourcing over 100 meals that are delivered through EMS to people that are experiencing homelessness. And to date, Quarantine has distributed thousands of meals and articles of PPE to first responders and to those experiencing homelessness. Thank you. To the Austin Latino Coalition, being accepted by Paul Saldana. This consists of all volunteers, 14 trusted Latinos serving organizations that include nonprofits, civic and cult community organizations, 30 individual Latino community leaders. And over the course of the last 24 weeks, the coalition has organized numerous community barrier-free COVID testing events, PPE distribution events in zip codes that continue to have the highest number of COVID cases and positivity rates. In addition, they have developed and implemented bilingual, culturally relevant public service announcements, campaign targeting the Latino communities, and have provided voter education and voter registration opportunities at the events. Over 6,000 families served, testing to over 2,000 individual frontline folks, and they have pushed the city. Thank you. Austin Chinese American Network, Hugh Lee is going to accept. ACAN has provided over 15,000 meals between March and August, doing it weekly, donating to homeless shelters and youth centers, 200,000 plus worth of donations and PPEs to hospitals and other essential organizations, 15,000 face shields made by the youth and donated to Austin area school teachers, $5,000 raised and donated to the Central Texas Food Bank through the Youth Online Concert. And speaking of which, the last organization, Central Texas Food Bank, Derek Chubbs is going to accept the honor. You know, in response to this pandemic, the Texas Central Food Bank has completely changed the way that it operates, converting its distribution model to an emergency food boxes only for drive-in, low-touch settings in order to minimize close human interaction. For this fiscal year, they have distributed more than 63 million pounds of food, exceeding their goal for the year, which was only just over 50. Congratulations to these 4 organizations. On behalf of a grateful city, thank you. Thank you, thank you for what you have done and continue to do. Honor to be here. You know, you're only supposed to get together in pandemic as best you can just with your family. I figure this qualifies. This Democratic Party here in Travis County feels like my family. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Adler. Thank you, Mayor Adler, for that wonderful introduction. I'm truly honored. We are truly honored to be here with all these organizations that have done so much work around COVID-19. I want to just say quickly, when we went into shelter in place back in March, I actually got a call from Selena Z, the head of the EMS Association, and she said she was truly worried about our homeless communities and how they're going to get fed. And I called up or Facebook messaged 5 women immediately. And these are women that I have met through my own circles and at Democratic clubs. And I knew that they were women who were active and cared about our communities. And we Facebook messaged and everyone stepped up. And I just want to use this time to talk about these amazing women that have inspired not only all of you, but have truly inspired me. So I'm going to start with Julianne Niche, who goes into our camps and feeds our homeless and gives masks and clothes and suitcases worth of clothes consistently. And she's been wonderful towards our unhoused communities for months. Ashley Chang, her and her father, Ronald Chang, has given over 3,000 meals from Chinatown towards our homeless communities during the pandemic. CJ Zhao has stepped up. They've given masks to, I think, almost everyone here in Austin and our homeless communities, hundreds and hundreds of masks to keep us safe. Margaret Chang Percher in Kennan collected over 20 tents for people who did not have homes and have created and have brought in over $3,000 that goes towards towards providing showers towards the homeless communities. And I also want to thank Amber Price, Emily Grace, and again, Selena Z. I mean, without this team, we wouldn't have been able to do this. And I'm just so grateful to meeting these women through my own work in the Democratic parties. It is nice to see that we all care about the same values and we all really, truly care about our community. And very quickly, I want to end with a quote that I think matters to all of us, and it is about our president. It's from our president, Barack Obama. And he said that although our stories may be singular, our destination is shared. So thank you to everyone, and thank you to everyone here.
Thank you, Quarantine, Pooja, Sethi. Austin Latino Coalition, Paul Saldana.
Hey, Mayor, good afternoon. Good to see you. Thanks for acknowledging us. And I'd like to also thank, on behalf of the Austin Latino Coalition, the Travis County Democratic Party for acknowledging our coalition and our efforts. You know, no one could have ever imagined that we'd be living through a pandemic in 2020. And sadly, the COVID pandemic has certainly unmasked the historic inequities faced by our Latinos community. During week 38 of this COVID pandemic, Latinos nationally, on the state level and locally, continue to be disproportionately impacted by COVID. We represent the majority of the COVID cases, the hospitalizations, and the deaths. 415 Austinites have lost their lives to COVID, and Latinos represent 50% of those deaths. That means that we've lost 207 Latinos from our Latino Austin community. And today there are still many within our Latino community that remain challenged with the ongoing realities of systemic inequities, economic segregation, unemployment, chronic diseases, lack of health care, and are worried about immigration status. During this pandemic, there are still many in our community that lack access to the basic fundamentals of PPE supplies, such as masks and hand sanitizer. So I'm eternally grateful and proud to stand with the members of our coalition who have been volunteering over 24 weeks. We all have full-time jobs, we have families, but they have been all committed to serve our community with compassion. So we're proud of our efforts to date, and there's still more work that needs to be done, but we should always remember that there's power in proximity, and we should all commit to staying proximate to the poor, proximate to those who are marginalized, proximate to the undocumented, proximate to the incarcerated, and proximate to those who are being excluded, and proximate to those who are continue to be disproportionately impacted by this pandemic, because there is power in proximity. So it's absolutely important for our Latino community to be involved in the political process by registering our family members to vote and including and holding those who aspire to represent us accountable when we speak our voices and when we cast our votes in the ballot box. And I like to quote Cesar Chavez, remember, we don't need perfect political systems, we need perfect participation. Thanks for the acknowledgement, y'all. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Paul. The Austin Chinese American Network.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mayor, and thank you, Travis County Democratic Party, for this prestigious award. On behalf of Austin Chinese American Network, thank you. It's a great honor for our organization. And ACAN started 3 years ago, and here in ACAN, we like to say that we pretty much started in to serve our community immediately since the founding of our organization in 2017 during the Harvey hurricane disaster. And that's from there to today, the great pandemic hitting our country. ACAN has been engaged in serving our communities as well as fostering our heritage. And it's been a great ride for 3 years. And we have grown and we have gained a lot of attractions in our communities. And it's a great honor to serve our communities and to to foster our heritage. And I'd like to thank a number of people that really helped for us during the past 6 months in our COVID-19 relief work. First of all, I want to thank the hundreds of volunteers of our organization who really rose to this once-in-a-lifetime occasion, an occasion for great hardship and need in our communities, and really pour their heart out to help where help is most needed, be it for PPE shortage or food shortage. And I want to thank our partners such as FSG, Xiangyun Temple, Travis County EMS volunteers, Apapa Austin chapter, Greater Austin Asian Chamber of Commerce, the Quarantine, Premium Education Partners, and many others. Without them, it wouldn't be possible for us to really help those in need. And I also would like to thank our individual donors, Altogether ATX Fund, St. David's Foundation, and the GAACC for their financial support, and their generous support made everything possible. And finally, I'd like to thank our youth members for their exemplary contributions to the relief effort. They were, and they still are involved in almost all the relief work that's still going on, and led the Face Shield project that Mayor mentioned, and an online concert fundraiser that raised $5,000 for Central Texas Food Bank. And this is probably the most difficult time for all of us in a very long time. But it is truly heartening to say that it is also bringing out the best of us, and we are all in this together. Thank you.
Great. And Central Texas Food Bank, Derek Chubb.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Adler. And thank you to the Travis County Democratic Party for this recognition. I'd also like to say and congratulate my peers here, Quarantine, Austin Latino Coalition, and the Austin Chinese American Network for the work that they've done during this unprecedented period and the recognition that they've received, as well as the support that many of you already have given to the Central Texas Food Bank. As Mayor Adler said, in response to the pandemic, we have literally had to change the way we distribute food in order to minimize risk, to protect our team. We've had to take some pretty unprecedented steps. Beginning in early April, in addition to our normal operations of serving nearly 50,000 people each week across the 21 counties through our network of food pantries, mobile pantries, we started doing mass drive-through distributions. And to date, we've done approximately 45 of those events. We did one just today in Del Valle, where we served an estimated 3,000, and we'll continue to do that work. However, I just want to give you a little insight with the help of the community and the support that we've received, just give you a little insight into what we accomplished in August alone. We served 112,000 households, which equates to over 350,000 individuals. 18,000 of that 112,000 were coming to us for the very first time. In Travis County alone, we served more than 42,000 households, of which 21% of those were coming to us for the very first time. In May, we were really excited and exhausted when we distributed the most food we had ever distributed in the history of our food bank, which was around 5.7 million pounds. However, in August, we already distributed over 6.6 million pounds. It's been an extremely unprecedented year for us. And again, to Mayor Adler's point, we've distributed 63 million pounds already when our target originally was 51 and a half. So to conclude this, like all of you, it's been an unprecedented year for us. But we could not have done this. I would not be here without the support of one of the most amazing staffs and the families that support them as they have been gone on every day, Saturdays, Sundays, supporting our community. So I'd like to thank, my staff, our volunteers. Some of you aren't participating in this event. I have seen volunteer at either our mobile pantries or at the food bank, and their families and my board, from the truck drivers to those of us who plan it on every single day. We simply would not be here receiving this recognition without that level of support. So thanks to all of you.
Hey, Ed Espinoza here again. Thank you, Mayor Adler, and all of our honorees who are doing such fantastic work in Austin during a time unlike any other that we've seen. And it's because of your steady hands that we've been able to make it through this together. Before we move on, I want to remind everybody about a call to action here is that when we talk to voters, they vote for Democrats. And when you use your voice this election season to flip Texas, you can do that by helping us at our phone banks on Tuesdays and Sundays. You can sign up at travisdems.org/vol. That's travisdems.org/vol. And I know that you are all registered to vote, but make sure that your friends and your family are registered to vote too. Sometimes they're just not sure. So having that call to action there is my honor to introduce our next speaker, who is a friend of mine and really a friend to all of us in her new role as state senator here in Travis County and parts of Bastrop. Actually, it might be all of Bastrop. And our former county judge and my neighbor, Sarah Eckhart.
Ed, thank you so much for having me. And I'm going to wave my arms around a lot because I think my screen freezes from time to time. So here are our issues with COVID-19 and virtually gathering. It is my deep, deep honor to do the Lifetime Achievement Awards for today for a lifetime of service in pursuit of what Thomas Merton described as accepting life as a very great gift and a great good, not because of what it gives us, but because of what it enables us to give others. And these four men who are honored today for Lifetime Achievement really exemplify that spirit of honing their craft in order to give back, to give to others. It is my great pleasure, although I have to say it's a little odd to give a Lifetime Achievement Award to these guys when there's so much more life to live. Particularly, Pedro, are you even 30 yet? What a lifetime already, a lifetime of achievement already. Pedro Villalobos has been deeply involved in the political life of our community since college and even before. I think I first met you when you were at the University of Texas. And I also recall having a conversation with you at a protest outside the Capitol about whether or not you were going to go to law school. So. And then Glenn Maxey, of course, needs no introduction as our first LGBTQIA representative in the Big Pink Dome, but also since then, yet another lifetime of achievement in organizing, strategizing, and advocating and organizing some more. Also, Andy Brown, also another amazing strategist and organizer, as well as the former Travis County Democratic Party chair, who's now made the shift from politics over to policy as our chief executive as the county judge. So happy to have him in that role. And then finally, but certainly last but certainly not least, is Marvin Hecker, who has made politicians look good and sound good for generations in his professional life, but also in his tremendous acts of volunteering as the Travis County Democratic Party precinct chair. Giving his talents in that role, helping us organize, helping us understand how we can better organize within the organization. Just a tremendous advocate and the finest hat here today. Truly the finest hat here today. So shall we start off with some remarks from Pedro?
Thank you, Senator. And that protest that you're speaking about, I actually have a picture that we took that day. So I'll find it and send it your way because I remember that day specifically, the one that you're talking about. So thank you. Thank you, Travis County Democratic Party for allowing me this honor. I am very honored to be introducing Glenn Maxey. there are very few people that I can think of that are deserving of this lifetime recognition. I first met Glenn in 2011 at a University Democrats function. I was becoming involved in politics for the first time, and I didn't know that many people in Austin. So Glenn was one of the first friendly faces I met. Little did I know that that day would be the start of a great mentorship and friendship that I can say I'm very happy is still going strong today. Fast forward to 2012, I first met Glenn in about in 2010. So fast forward 2 years to 2012, Glenn is getting people set up and getting young people ready to go to the national convention to get President Barack Obama reelected to a second term. And Glenn sees me at the Travis County Convention. Like any good Democrat, Glenn facetiously was scolding me about not being part of the Harris County Convention. Harris County is my home county. From Houston. Later that day, when I was talking to Glenn, I admitted to Glenn that I was undocumented. Glenn was the first person in Austin that I had told that I was undocumented to. There was many reasons for that, but there was fear. I didn't know how people were going to respond, even within our own Democratic Party. I told Glenn that as much as I wanted to be a part of the convention process and to be a delegate, I couldn't. I couldn't even go to the convention because I didn't have a Texas ID, and getting on a plane was just too risky. Glenn, without missing a beat, told me, well, I guess we're driving to Charlotte so you can participate, and we're going to find you a gas pass. My anecdote demonstrates why Glenn is deserving of this award. He does not let obstacles stop him. He finds solutions, and his passion to ensure that people new to the political system is become involved is unwavering. The list of people Glenn has mentored is too long, but they include people like Representative Eddie Rodriguez, Representative James Tallarico, soon-to-be County Judge Andy Brown, Nate Walker, Katie Naranjo, Judge Nick Chu, and Joe Casino, among many, many others. This is what defines lifetime impact. And going to what Senator Eckhart said, this is what Glenn is doing to ensure that others are set up for success. This is what Glenn has given to others in his time with us here. He's ensuring that people who are going to take the reins over are set up for success. That instead of starting at step 1 and trying to get to step 10, people are starting at step 5 and they're going to reach step 15. Glenn, thank you for your service and congratulations.
All right, I think I'm going to jump in here and introduce Marvin, and then I think we'll have Glenn come at the end, if that is correct. Okay.
Thank you, Andy.
Thanks. All right, so Marvin Hecker. Marvin is just a great human being, and he's a great diplomat, and I've learned a ton from him over the years. He sent me a bio that covers his amazing achievements in life, from being born in Gladewater to graduating from Rice, to his 40-year career in the commercial audio and video equipment industry, to marrying Galen and having 3 children and 4 grandchildren. And he's done important work, including audio and video work for politicians and elected officials, from Governor Mark White to Lucy Johnson to Sarah Weddington to Bob Kruger to Lloyd Benson. And having met all of those, I can say that the prospect of doing the high stakes of audio and video work for an event for them would make me very proud, but would also make me very nervous. But his bio doesn't tell you the whole story. I used to be chair of the party, as has been said, starting in about 2008. I was sandwiched in between Chris Elliott and Jan Soifer, and Marvin has been a precinct chair since 2004. So to prepare for this intro, I also took a gander at my emails with Marvin over the years. And some of you, including Marvin, may remember that when I first came into office as TCDP chair, before Laura Hernandez and Crystal Villagran and I set some records, it was a little bit rocky. My good friend Ruben Leslie and some other folks introduced me to this book called Robert's Rules of Order. Fun ensued for a year or two, and I think the result, frankly, was a better TCDP, and one that recognized that the precinct chairs controlled the budget and that the party had party chair had better listen to them when proposing a budget. This process was the genesis of the TCDP review committee and I think the finance committee. And Marvin really kept all of us focused in a very constructive way on those goals. And in that process, Marvin spent hours talking with me, with Ruben, with Ross Pumphrey, and countless others to help us negotiate that situation in a positive way and come out of it to where we were all working together on things like getting record minority turnout in 2010. Marvin's cool, smart, and honest guidance really proved crucial in that process. And I saw that all again this year with the TCDP elections for county judge and county chair. Throughout that process, Marvin was always upfront. He was honest. He gave sage advice. I got to know many of the precinct chairs pretty well over the past 6 or 7 months that I didn't know before. And I spoke with almost all of them at great length. And while there was definitely not a unanimous agreement about who should be county judge or county chair, there was unanimous agreement about how great a human being Marvin is and how everyone respects him and his opinion greatly. And it sounds like Marvin knows what he's doing, as his favorite quote is, diplomacy is the art of allowing someone else to have it your way. So please welcome Marvin Hecker.
Thank you, Andy. Hello, friends. Thank you so much for this incredible honor. I've been politically active since the 1960s when I helped organize anti-war protests in college and joined about 800,000 other protesters to march on Washington. But it wasn't until 2004 that I became a Travis County precinct chair. It's only been 16 years, but at times it has felt like a lifetime. I first served as a precinct chair under Chris Elliott of blessed memory. But ironically, it was Glenn Maxey who inspired me to start kicking butts and taking names. And here we are today. My parents set examples for me, always taking a leadership role in organizations they belong to, and they taught me to give a hand up to those that were less fortunate. My dad liked to quote a biblical proverb that said, "A good name is to be chosen rather than great riches, and favor is better than silver or gold." So as we move forward after winning this election, let us remember that we must fight against corporate greed and get money out of politics, or we'll never be able to accomplish the other principles that our party stands for. My family lost a lot of relatives in the Holocaust, and we now know that many corporations were complicit with the Nazis. For instance, did you know that IBM punch cards ran the death trains and generated the numbers tattooed on the victims' arms? And it's large corporations that are threatening our environment today. So if we don't save our planet from destruction, we won't be able to accomplish all the other worthy goals that we've been working for all these years. So let's work together to overturn Citizens United and to clean up the environment by 2030 before it's too late. I can only accept this award by acknowledging a lot of other precinct chairs who have put in as much or more time and effort as I have. There's not enough time to name all of them, but you all know who you are. I'm honored to work alongside all of you, the TCDP staff, and everyone on today's program. And I intend to continue to work and support the Travis County Democratic Party for years to come. I trust all of us will continue to do this important work and help to restore the decency and the justice that our county, our state, and our country deserves. Onward. Thank you.
And I believe we've got Glenn with us.
I'm
Awesome.
here.
Glenn, take it on home.
Well, I'm sorry I had technological problems and I didn't hear my introduction by Pedro. If he did what I instructed him to do, and I've instructed him many times during his short life, he read off a list of young people that I have mentored. Whether it's the work that I did in the LGBT community or AIDS Services of Austin work, being in the legislature, there are a lot of things that this old man has walked through fire about over the last 68 years I've been on this earth. As a gay man, it's always one regret that you don't sometimes have the ability to have children. But I found a way around that, a workaround. I found my kids. And like most parents, you worry about your kids, that they might become addicted to alcohol or drugs or tobacco. But I want everybody to know that I'm a pusher. I have a lifetime achievement of addicting young people to be activists and mentoring them into politics. That list is extremely long, and I'm so very proud of them. In this campaign in 2020, I actually now have my first grandkid, a kid of somebody that I started in politics when they were a kid, who is now out doing the work to turn Texas blue. So to all of my kids, and some of my kids, when I mentored them in, Marvin, may have been in their 30s or 40s or 50s or even their 60s and 70s. But I've started a lot of people on this addiction, and it's one that you don't need to ever kick. This is an addiction that takes you all the way through to the grave. And as I slow down a little bit, as I sort of retire from activism, I'm looking forward to my future career in total retirement, and that's going to be a full-time volunteer. I don't intend in the future in 2022 to be instructing anybody what to do. I'm going to be one of the team to do the things that we've all learned to turn Texas blue. And I want everybody to mark their calendar sometime in early 2021. There will be a new book on the market called it's Glenn Maxey's memoirs. I'm on page 300. It will be published. The last chapter will be the chapter about us all together turning Texas blue and saving this country and saving this planet. So to my Travis County Democratic friends, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. Thank you for being the best pusher man, the absolute best pusher man we could possibly ever hope to have. You've been tremendous.
Thank you.
And with that, I'll kick it back over to Ed.
Thanks, Sarah. Actually, I think, sorry, Senator. Thanks, Senator. With that, it's going to be, I think, me and Katie, and then Bianca actually is up next.
Thank you, Ed. We want to say thank you to all of our sponsors at the activist level. First, we want to say thank you to the Honorable Jay Brim, Whitney Bodman, Zohaib Quidri, Mary Patrick, the Honorable Dolores Ortega Carter, Rachel Jackson, Kenan Wooten, Selena Alvarenga, Jim Davis, Robbie Osley, Ramy Coe, Linda Burgess, the Honorable Orlinda Naranjo, the Honorable Deborah Danberg. And before we wrap up, just a last call to action. We're going door to door, dropping off information to voters every weekend. So if you're fired up like I am, sign up for a weekend lit drop. You can sign up at travisdems.org/VOL. travisdems.org/vol. So please sign up and help us get the word out. And thank you back to Katie and Ed.
Thanks, Bianca. I'm going to say one last word, and then I'm going to hand it off to our chair to bring it home. But for everybody who joined us today, and for everybody who's very involved in these, just remember that there are people around us who rely on us to not only give them the information, but allow them to feel empowered, to get involved. And democracy is like a muscle. And for that muscle to be healthy, we have to exercise it. And this is our time to exercise that muscle, that democratic democracy muscle in this moment. We're counting on you, and I know you can do it. Thank you so much. And with that, I'll hand it off to Katie, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Ed, and thank you to all of the amazing winners and honorees today. I'm especially proud to be one of Glenn's kids, and I'm so thankful that at the age of 17, I got to meet him at a Democratic National Convention, and he convinced me to go and register 100 voters in order to get a guest passed on the floor. And ever since then, it's been a beautiful friendship and addiction that we've shared. I hope everyone today has taken some opportunity to think about community and what that means. Community is a group of individuals with common interests, beliefs, and values. We share a sense and time of place. The time that we are in right now can be stressful, painful, and even scary. The place we are in, though, is an exception. Travis County and our Democratic community, we are an exception to the rule. We care about lifting people up, preserving our environment, supporting first responders, protecting children and education professionals, and the anti-racism movement that so much needs all of our voices supporting them. We have a long way to go until we realize that we are the country we want us to be, that supports the people that we value. But I know it's with this amazing group of people today, the organizations that they represent, and the community that we are so strongly connected to, that will help us endure the challenges ahead, have the hard conversations that we must have to ensure we move forward together. I want to take a special moment to thank Gabe, Jovita, Allison, Dale, Ed, Brian, and Cindy, who are helping in today's broadcast of our Ann McAfee Community Awards. I want to thank the elected officials who took time to make sure that each of our honorees felt that this was an auspicious occasion, that it was focused on them and their contribution to our community. And last, I want to thank our honorees. You show up, you care, and you don't take no for an answer. And it's because of your work that we are going to bring change this November, and we're going to bring change at the Texas legislature in the spring. One last reminder, if you are inspired by the people that you've heard from today, help us. We are only a few $1,000s away from meeting our coordinated campaign goal, so please take a moment to make a contribution to the Travis County Democratic Party at traviscountydemocrats.org. And if you can't give of your coin, please give of your time and talent. We have literature drops going door to door. We have phone calls that need to be made to talk to voters, to bring them out to the polls this November. And you can sign up to volunteer at travisdems.org/VOL. The fight continues with each of you at the helm, and we thank you for joining us in this fight now and in November. Have a great weekend, and we look forward to seeing you on the doors and on the phones turning out Democrats this fall. And we're done.